Alright, so I'm just gonna get straight to the point. Crazy stuff happened on Twitter, so I'm just gonna go over it. RTC, which is a popular Roblox news account with almost 300,000 followers, reported a story of a star creator named JoJo apparently sending stuff to minors. After reporting on this, Parlo quote tweeted the RTC tweet by saying this: JoJo would make a statement regarding these allegations, claiming it was his ex-girlfriend trying to ruin him. Parlo then would say that the screenshots against JoJo was enough evidence to call him a pedo, even though this girl didn't even show the DMs of these girls, telling JoJo that they were 12 to 13. RTC then says that JoJo knew about this girl's age. JoJo then responds to these allegations with proof backing up his claims and that it was his ex the whole time, trying to make him look bad. She claims she was 12 to 13, but she was the exact same age as JoJo when he was 17 when sending the stuff. Alex Tanuki, someone who works with the RTC, made a thread saying that they fired half of their team and that she was not involved in the story. I then said that Zach, I don't know his name, how to pronounce it. I think it's Zach. I don't know. I mean, I said Zach before. I don't know. Basically, he's the owner of the RTC account, and that there's no way they would have posted that without him telling them to. Alex then replied to me saying she put an end to this. Shortly after that, Fulltrix reveals a message that Alex sent in the RTC Discord server, saying she wouldn't make a statement on the RTC account because it would make the account lose followers. Parlo would say that JoJo hiding a tweet accusing him of pedophilia is enough evidence that he was a pedo. After JoJo made this statement on Twitter, Parlo responded saying that he blindly believed stuff that was a massive lie, and that he was kicked out of a group with zero explanation. Fulltrix then quote tweets and calls out Parlo with screenshots of Parlo telling Fulltrix to shut up and to go back to backstabbing. If you don't know the context of the backstabbing thing, here's a quick rundown. Fulltrix was in a group chat with Parlo, Lofi, and That Board Gamer for a collab video they were making on lit candles. Parlo then mentions Warren after Warren had made a rant video on him. Parlo said that he wishes that Warren was gone in real life and that he would strike his channel if he made one more video on him, and that the people who tried to dox Warren were doing God's work. Fulltrix was friends with both Warren and Parlo, which is why he was hesitant to send the DMs to Warren. So, yeah, there's the full context. Parlo then says in DMs that Fulltrix is egotistical. Parlo made a statement saying that he said originally JoJo didn't have any proof to back up his claims, but said that he later proved his innocence and that we don't see that in RTC drama. In a Twitter thread Parlo made about JoJo's situation being false, he said that he was just as livid as people were with him because a man's career could have ended over a lie. Alex realized her mistake after saying she wasn't going to make a statement on the RTC account. She proceeded to make an apology on the RTC account, saying that JoJo committed terrible acts but that he wasn't a pedo. They said the people in charge of the story didn't inform the entire team and just tweeted out the story without them knowing. Meanwhile, after Fulltrix posted those DMs on Parlo, you know, the one where Parlo tells Fulltrix to shut up, Parlo then says that the DMs were taken out of context. I asked him to show the full context, which he never did. I quote tweet him saying that that's all he says when something bad about him is public. I used the examples of when he told people to die of cancer, wanting Lisa Subs to die, and other people to die. I won't go into much detail on those things, but if you want to know about them, there's a video by Swag called Character Criticism on Parlo showing all the screenshots, so I'll link it in the description. After I quote tweeted him, he then replies to me mentioning that 4 apparent alt accounts liked my tweets, saying that I was a clown, talking about the past, and that I somehow shifted the topic. He said I've always been a parasite in his eyes because I was a quote-unquote Lisa bootlicker. I then replied to him saying that I didn't know 4 alt accounts liked my tweet, and asked what does likes have to do with this, and asking how I was a Lisa bootlicker when I called her out on everything she did. I literally made a full timeline video. Fulltrix decides to bait Parlo by quote tweeting him saying ratio. If you don't know what ratio means, it's to like basically say I'm about to get more likes than you. Parlo then replied to Fultrix saying, ratioing a topic regarding pedophilia for Twitter likes, how mature. I then replied to him saying that he mentioned alt accounts liking my tweet when I called him out for falsely accusing JoJo of being a pedo. He then says I didn't debunk what he stated and shifted the topic back to the JoJo situation. I then replied to him saying that he switched the topic of me leeching off Lisa and saying he was contradicting. I then asked if he leeched off of Lisa because he had made lots of videos on her. I guess he made about 20 videos on her. He said he made 18 videos, which is supposed to make it better, and that I was blame shifting, saying the difference between me and him is that he exposed her and that I bootlicked her. I then told him I called her out for everything. After I called him contradicting, he said that I was a clown. I then got a little heated and said that if I was the clown, he's the whole circus, and that I didn't falsely accuse someone of being a pedo. Parlo then replied saying it's funny how emojis got on my nerves. Fultrix then quote tweets Parlo's reply with screenshots of Parlo being mad about me and Fultrix getting Twitter likes from 4 alt accounts. Parlo then says those DMs were taken out of context yet again, with no proof. Fultrix then releases DMs of Parlo asking if me and Fultrix can get better at arguing, saying that we sucked at it and that we relied on Twitter likes. Fultrix then makes a tweet saying he isn't the one who was making false pedo allegation. Parlo then calls Fultrix a hypocrite and that he was leeching off unneeded drama. I then replied to him saying that Parlo helped start the unneeded drama. He then said RTC started it and that I was a hypocrite for continuing it. I replied to him saying he helped fuel the fire by assuming JoJo was a pedo. Fultrix decided to make another bait tweet at Parlo. Parlo wasn't too happy with it, saying that Fultrix was getting his likes from alt accounts. I then replied to Parlo asking if he was mostly pissed off at someone liking Fultrix's tweet instead of making false allegations. He also made another reply to my question saying that I keep mentioning the JoJo situation because it's the only thing I can leech onto, because I quote-unquote lost the argument. Ice Cream Man says that the allegations was the entire point of the argument to begin with, and saying that Parlo should have stayed on topic. Parlo then says that Ice Cream Man should be saying that to me, saying that I was the one who was changing the topic. Ice Cream Man asked how me and Fultrix were changing the topic, and that we mentioned the false allegations, which was the original topic, and then Parlo mentioned likes. Ice Cream Man says that it seemed like Parlo was trying to avoid criticism, and then he just gives some advice. Parlo then calls the Ice Cream Man a hypocrite. I then replied to Parlo saying that Ice Cream Man was just giving criticism. Parlo then replies to me saying that if Ice Cream Man wasn't defending me, it would be a different story, and that they were uneducated. I then reply saying if they weren't defending me for making false pedo allegations, I would understand 100%. He then replies saying that I'm ignorant and I didn't read his thread or consider what he had to say. I then said I read his thread about JoJo and thought it was insincere because he keeps trying to defend himself. Parlo also made another reply to the Ice Cream Man's question on how I was changing the topic, saying that I was bringing up his past. I then said I mentioned the past stuff because he used the same excuse as the recent stuff, saying that the DMs were out of context. Parlo then decided to block me and Fultrix. Fultrix and Parlo are still beefing by the time I finish recording this video, but yeah, that about wraps it up.